as far as the investigation goes, this is the timeline and we're happy to share it with you. In the meantime, I'd like to read the preliminary findings following last week's investigation and public hearing. Number one, the Philippines had no legal obligation to arrest former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte and turn him over to the International Criminal Court. What was received was only a diffusion notice, not verified or approved by the Interpol Secretariat. No verification by the Interpol whether the request complied with Article 3 of their Constitution, forbidding Interpol from undertaking any intervention or activities of a political, military, religious, or racial character. Under the terms of the diffusion notice, there was no obligation on the part of the Philippines to turn over former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte to the ICC, absent any request for extradition or request for surrender. Under Article 92 of the Rome Statute, a provisional arrest is followed by a request for surrender. There is also no indication that the ICC even requested for the surrender of former president after his provisional arrest. There is likewise no indication that the ICC requested extradition after the arrest. Finally, the argument of Secretary of Justice Remulla is deeply flawed, inasmuch as international humanitarian law, customary law, cannot apply. He is accused of crimes against humanity, not war crimes. IHL refers to war crimes. Procedural administrative matters such as court processes do not become part of customary international law. IHL is international customary law, but the jurisdiction of ICC cannot be considered customary under IHL. The second finding, the Philippine government decided to assist the ICC to arrest the former president. The administration already started preparations prior to March 11. The PNP mobilized units on March 10. The National Security Advisor Anyo was already tracking the former president's camp before the arrest. Even before the ICC prosecutor applied for a warrant of arrest, there was already statements by key executive officials that the administration will cooperate if the ICC courses the request through Interpol to arrest the former president. Finally, the claim of the Department of Interior and Local Government Secretary John Vic Remulla that the supposed group effort was only based on rumor is incredible. This attempt to cover up what was already aired on media and what had already come to pass was an indication of a comprehensive plan to arrest the former president already being in place even before the date indicated in the ICC warrant of March 11. Finally, my third preliminary finding was that there were glaring violations of the rights of the former president. The constitutional safeguards guaranteeing liberty and due process of law were not observed. No warrant was issued by a Philippine court. The arrest did not fall within the exceptions of a warrantless arrest. Meanwhile, General Torre invoked 125 article of the revised penal code only applying to warrantless arrest. The constitutional safeguards for the right to liberty of abode were also disregarded. No court order was issued mandating that the former president be taken out of the Philippines against his will. Former President Duterte was deprived of the right to be visited or to have conferences with immediate family members under Section 2F of Republic Act 7438. General Torre admitted he did not allow Vice President Sara Z. Duterte to visit former president in Villamor Air Base, contrary to RA 7438. Former President Duterte was further denied the right to be brought to judicial authorities under Article 59 of the Rome Statute. The former president was also denied the right to apply for interim release under Article 59 of the Rome Statute or the right to apply for bail under prevailing jurisprudence on extradition. However, during the public hearing of March 20, here at the Senate, the Secretary of Justice insisted on the inapplicability of the Rome Statute. But a DOJ certification signed by Prosecutor General Richard Fadullon stated very clearly that the DOJ made the following determinations. As competent authority of the custodial state, the arrest issued complies with Article 59 of the Rome Statute. To recall, DOJ spokesperson Clavano released a statement last March 13 saying, ang naging role namin ay competent judicial authority. Kami na ang nag-attest na lahat ng proper processes ay ginawa. Similar to Prosecutor General Fadullon, the DOJ spokesperson showed that the article cited in the Rome Statute had been complied with. Therefore, it's apparent that the DOJ first tried to convince the public that the requirements under Article 59 of the Rome Statute were complied with, and then later on, when such stance became untenable, decided to ditch Article 59 and the Rome Statute altogether and pursued another theory, extrajudicial rendition, and invoked RA 9851, particularly Article 17. Yun lang po. So, those are the three findings right now. As we speak, we are not certain if we will continue at magkakaroon pa ng ikalawang pagdinig pagkat yun nga, kinakailangan na meron tayong matitindi, magagaling at malaman ng mga testigo.